Dr. Modelstein here. We had such a great time at Nationals. We are looking forward to talking about the show tonight. In fact, we have a few more Squadron employees joining us tonight to talk about their favorite parts of Nationals. I see that we already have some early chats going on. Joseph Carpenter says, "Hey everybody! Joseph, it is great to see you." And Danny, hello. I know Brandon and Jeff told me was great meeting you at the show. I saw through the cameras that you picked up quite a stash of goodies. I am glad you found some things that you had to have. And as far as that Smith destroyer goes, you are in for a real treat. Ken Clark is here. It is good to see you, my friend. Tom is here from the villages of the White Sands. I am sorry that you were not able to be at the Nationals, but maybe you can be there next year in Indiana. Chip is here, I see. Hello, my friend. And it looks like Byron is here. It is great to see you guys. Who else is here? Oh, there is Arnell. Good evening to you too, my friend. And yes, Squadron has safely returned back to Georgia. Well, I guess in Jeff's case, he arrived back to Wisconsin. Don't forget that next week, August 20th, will be our next show and tell episode. Make sure to send in your model submissions this week to be featured during the show. Well, I am going to go ahead and grab my tea and jar of pickles and get ready to hear all about the Nationals.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Squadron Live on Wednesday nights. I am glad you're here. I'm glad to be here. We were in Virginia last Wednesday night. Several of you tuned in. We had a short live stream last week, but we were here nonetheless, or should I say we were there nonetheless. We had a great time. Nationals, as I've been saying for weeks and months, is always a highlight for me and for the rest of us here at Squadron each year. And this year, the Tidewater Club, Tom Jett, Charles Landrum, the rest of those guys, they did a fantastic job of hosting this yearly event. And we are so glad that we were able to be a part of that. We met many of you there, some for the first time. Some of you, it was seeing old friends like we do every year. But whatever the case was, we were so happy to see you. Glad that you were there. We brought so much stuff with us to tempt you and tempt your dollars for you to add to your stash, as we like to say. And I think we brought a nice selection and variety that everybody was able to find something that they needed. Whether it was our new P-47 kit or the new B-26, or how about Tamiya's surprise announcement and surprise release, their Pack 38 in 35th scale. There were so many really, really cool releases that were available to purchase here. Of course, that we went through so many bottles of paint. And so I'm very happy that you guys were finally able to see the paint that we've been talking about nonstop for months. You were able to see that in person and take some of that home with you. A lot of the 3D parts that we've been talking about nonstop, you were finally able to see those in person, some of which we actually sold out of. The majority of the 3D tracks were gone by Thursday, and many of the rest of them were gone by the end of the weekend. But there were just so many good things that we had on display in the booth. We had a fantastic team of help with us. We took several of us here from Squadron with us here from Ringgold. Of course, Jeff joined us from Wisconsin, but we had so many other really, really good helpers that we knew ahead of time. They said, "Hey, I'm going to be there. We'd love to help you." And there were so many of you. There were a lot of people that showed up in our booth Tuesday and Wednesday to help us, and I'm afraid that I didn't even get to greet everybody that helped us. So if I leave out a name here, please forgive me. I really appreciate everybody that helped. The three guys that were there Tuesday morning, first thing, and they were there until Saturday night. They were there nonstop all day, every day without fail, with Stuart Malone, Andy Taylor, and Adam Jackson. We could not have done what we did without you guys, and I really appreciate it. But we had so many other helpers. I know Fred O'Dare was there all day Tuesday. Bill Moore was there all day Tuesday, and he was there throughout the week as well. But John and Johnny Novak and Lou Franco helped us tear down Saturday. And I know Mike Dobrazalecki, Tom Andrews and his son, and so many other really good friends were there to help us and make sure that the Squadron booth was set up, ran, and torn down as efficiently as it could be. We literally couldn't have done it without you guys. And even with all that help, we were still the very, very, very last people to leave Saturday night. The vendor room was completely clear of tables, people, and everything by the time we got to pull out of there. But it was a great show. We had a great time, and we're already looking forward to next year in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And then, as many of you probably already know, one of the cool things about Nationals each year is that they announce the next show that takes place after the following years. We always know 2 years out. And of course, next year is Fort Wayne, Indiana. 2027 is going to be Huntsville, Alabama. So congratulations to that IPMS club for planning, bidding, and getting the bid. So they're going to be hosting that show. And of course, we're looking forward to that as well. So, so much going on. I've got some things to show you guys this year at the show. They did this Nationals exclusive IPMS journal. This is really cool. There's some really neat write-ups in here. Charles Landrum actually did a very cool write-up about some of the Civil War ironclads. Of course, the USS Monitor was on one of the tours. A lot of you got to go visit that and see it. And he did a very, very nice write-up of that. If you were at the show, you probably saw that we have finally re-released, and this is a pain in progress, by the way, but we released or re-released the flagship line of models. We've got the Monitor, the Virginia or Merrimack, and the Choctaw available now. So much cool stuff that we did. And we're going to talk about all that tonight. But before we jump into that, let me say hello to a few people. Then I've got a few guys to bring in here with us. So let's see. Jason, sorry that you missed the show, buddy. I know you were looking forward to it, but perhaps you'll be able to make it next year in Indiana, just like you said. But it's good to see you. And Steve, it's good to see you tonight. And Carlos is here, and Randy working on another book review. And let's see. Yeah, Jason, I'm glad you picked up that P-47. And so the P-47s and the B-26s that we premiered at the show, a lot of you have seen those. We've talked about them a lot. We do have some left, so they are available on our website tonight. You may have seen the email that I sent out earlier this evening, I don't know, about an hour or two ago. And that email lists every version of a P-47 that MiniArt has produced and every version of a B-26 Marauder that ICM has produced. So we're pretty excited at the moment about P-47s and B-26s, but I wanted to include all those different versions, just in case you've missed one of those releases, because they have released so many versions of those at this point. And MiniArt has just announced recently the advanced version of their P47D Razorback. And they've got 2 variants of that. So make sure to check out our website for more information on those. Let's see. David is here tonight. Good to see you. And Mark says, thanks to me and Jared for yesterday. It was good to see you in the store yesterday, buddy. And we were busy, but we always do our best to take time out for our customers. So I appreciate seeing you. Rex, it's good to see you there. And Jason talking about the flooding in Chattanooga. Yeah, that was kind of crazy out of left field last night. It's not. It wasn't very good. Where we live, we were perfectly fine, but just a couple of miles from here, man, there was some bad flooding and trees falling over on people. Just really, really bad stuff. So I hope everybody in the affected area is safe, and I hope that was the end of that. Let's see. Fred O'Dare. Yeah, buddy. It was really, really great to have you, and we appreciate your help for sure. Ed, it's good to see you this evening. It was great to see you last week, as always. Ed's daughter does a lot of swimming, like serious swimming, and Ed's talking about she may be coming to Chattanooga to swim later this year in one of those events. So if that happens, I'm looking forward to seeing you, Ed. Hope that all works out. Derek, good to see you tonight. And EV Cronin says, do I have anything to do with the locations of the upcoming nationals? Not really. He said, expect 2028 will be Chattanooga, if not Ringgold. I don't think Ringgold has a venue that could actually host it. And as much as I would like to say that I can have something to do with where those shows are, I don't. That is purely up to the IPMS clubs that decide that they want to basically spend a year or two of their life planning and coordinating. Of course, we all just saw that the Tidewater Club did a fantastic job this year. And now the Fort Wayne Club, this is their time. So for the next year, the Fort Wayne IPMS Club, I forget the name of their chapter, but they're going to be planning and doing all this work to make sure that next year is just as successful as this year. And that's what happened. So the Huntsville Club, when they bid to be able to put this on, they've already been planning. They had to coordinate with the hotel, they had to coordinate with the convention center, and they had to make all these plans knowing that they might not be able to do it. But in their case, the IPMS organization liked their bid, they liked their ideas, and they're going to go with it. So next year in the Fort Wayne show, whichever IPMS clubs decide that, hey, we want to throw our hat in the ring and try to host the nationals in our location. That's kind of how that happens. So it's interesting, but it really takes a club of a lot of devoted club members that want to put in the time and effort to put this on. So I could not do it myself, even if I wanted to. Let's see who else is here tonight. Wayne is here. It's good to see you. Bernard is with us, and JL out in San Francisco. Good to see you, buddy. And David right up the road in Tennessee, and Nick is here. Let's see. Yeah, Nick's talking about the video we posted, I think yesterday, of the model room walkthrough. We just had to work within what time we had to be able to do that. Jonathan Godwin always helps us out taking videos and pictures at the shows because sometimes I'm not able and Jared's not able to get away from the booth with enough time to do that. And he was going to do one of those awesome tours Friday. So Thursday was the day that he was able to get that for us. So I do know that there are some models missing from that video, but that's just, that's the hand we were dealt, being able to see what's on the table on Thursday when he was able to do that for us. And I appreciate him doing that for sure. Kimberly, it's good to see you. And Stephen, Lee, and Frank says it's party time. It was good to see you last week, my friend. And the Plastic Model Mojo guys are here. That was really good to see y'all. And they came in the booth with all their headphones and microphones and said, "Sit down, we're going to talk to you." So it was really good to catch up with you guys for a few minutes last week. Always a pleasure seeing you. Let's see. Miami is here. Good to see you tonight. And Jay Banks is here. Good evening, my friend. Adam's with us, and Ken and Dave out in Arizona. Good to see you. And Lee Leibold's here. Howdy to you too, my friend. Ron and Douglas, Ken, and Miami was talking about the live stream. So last week during the show, we live streamed our vendor booth. Now, I had no idea that any of you guys were actually going to watch that. The reason that I did it was for my dad, Russ. He was supposed to be there at the show with us, but at the last minute, some things came up and he had some change of plans, was not able to be with us. But he called and said, "Hey, you need to set up a live stream so I can see the booth and I can kind of feel like I'm there with you." And I said, "Okay." So the easiest way for me to do that was just do a live stream through our channel, just like we're doing now. And I had no idea that there would be so many of you actually watching and chatting back and forth. So that was really neat, because that's apparently something that some of you guys like. We're going to plan for that next year, and we're going to do it bigger and better, hopefully with multiple cameras, and it won't be such a last minute idea. So that's kind of how that all came together. Charles is here. Good to see you tonight. And Ron, I see you and Ed. A lot of you guys are talking about this USS Smith, but we'll come back to that another time. And I don't want to get too far down the paint path tonight, because I got a few guys that I want to bring in here in just a minute and get to talking about the show. So I'll say hey to John and Michael and Prep Volleyball Dad and TD. And then I'm going to introduce you to some other of our Squadron employees that perhaps you've never met. Now, you have met, if you went to the show last week, you met all these guys. Here's Jeff. Of course, we all know Jeff. How are you, my friend?
I'm recovering.
Good deal. And we all know my brother, Jared. How are you tonight, Jared?
I'm doing well. Hey, everybody. Good to see you as always.
Absolutely. Now, these next three, if you were at the show last week and you bought anything from us in our booth, you met Jackie.
Hey, everybody.
How are you, Jackie? And you probably met Tom. This is Tom Gaston.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, buddy. And then finally, we got John Brooks. How are you tonight, John?
Howdy. Hello, everyone.
Good deal. Now, everybody with the exception of Jeff works here in the Ringgold location. And we were all at the show last week. So first of all, Tom and John, you guys are lifelong model builders. You've been to many nationals in your day, but Jackie, this was your first nationals. I mean, you've been to some of the local shows with us. Jackie's kind of, we don't like titles around Squadron, but if I had to give her a title, it would probably be something to the effect of shipping manager. Jackie is kind of in charge of making sure your guys' orders go out in a timely manner, make sure you get what you're supposed to get. And she does a pretty good job. She's got several guys and gals that work under her, running tape guns and folding boxes up all day. But last week we threw her in the fire when Dad was not able to come. And one of the comments, Jackie, that I remember you making was you didn't realize how many people actually come to this thing and want to buy these models, and all the names that, we got these fancy name tags. So everybody's name was right here. So one of the things that Jackie mentioned to me was how many of the names that she recognized because of seeing the orders come through. So Jackie, what were some of your thoughts of your first nationals?
It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work. Yeah, I didn't realize how busy it was going to be. The line was out the door just about all day, every day.
Right.
So I never left the register.
Yep, that pretty much sums up nationals, and that's why we rely on people like Jonathan to go, take pictures and video of the show. A lot of times, like that vendor room walkthrough that Jonathan did for us, that was the best look of the vendor booth that I got. I didn't get a chance to go look, and Jackie, I know you didn't either. So,
thank you. Thank you, Charles.
Oh yeah, everybody's saying thank you. So, and Jared, of course, you've been to several nationals with us before, but I'm sure you kind of thought the same thing. I mean, at 1:00 Wednesday, we were off to the races, and it pretty much didn't stop until Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's always how it goes, and you never really know what to expect. But when you're looking this way and you turn around and the line is still the same length, it's like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Keep the running shoes on.
Oh yeah, and then Frank there talking about you guys helping judge. So of course Jared
Yes.
has judged before, but Jackie was an OJT judge this year, so
Yes.
she got her first year of experience judging, and
Yes.
the cool thing is she's been collecting, buying, adding to the stash, if you will, some of these new kits that have been coming through. I remember the other day I saw her buying one of Border Model's new Hell Knights, so I guess she's going to be hanging out.
Trades too.
All the tradies, yeah, the main kit. So Frank, you've turned her into a figure modeler, apparently, Frank. So way to go. Well, Tom, let me come down to you for a second. You and John. Actually, I'll go over to John first, Tom, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So, John, you are I know you're into a lot of things. I see your models behind you. You're a big book guy. I know that. But you're a large scale guy, 16th scale or larger. But primarily, I know you're into a lot of things, but you always seem to be talking about artillery, big guns or whatever it is. What did you think about Tamiya's special secret release this last week, that Pack 38? Yeah, you picked one up. What do you think about that thing?
Tamiya, I've never known Tamiya to turn out a bad kit. Most of the time at the show, people are expecting a 32nd scale monstrosity or whatever, but this is a beautifully done kit. I've gone through it and looked at the sprues and the parts, and it's beautifully done. I've yet to be able to clip any off and do any dry fitting, but the way it looks in the box, I think it is a fantastic kit.
Okay.
They've done an excellent job putting this out. They do every year. They do
right.
Spectacular.
Well, and what was even more spectacular to me than the kit, we always say on this show, you can't go wrong with a Tamiya kit. I was surprised as I could be that it was truly kept a secret until Wednesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday, Japan time. Nobody knew about this. Even when they came into the warehouse, I remember you guys saw this big Tamiya shipment come in, and we wrapped it and put a big sign on it that says "Don't open." We weren't even opening them in the warehouse, so everybody at the warehouse didn't even know what this was. So the fact that they were able to keep this a secret worldwide until Wednesday, Japan time, that was kind of special, and I hope that might be something that comes back to the show through Tamiya and possibly others, because it gave a sense of excitement at the show. I mean, so for so long we already know everything that's going to be there, and this time there was something that we didn't know about. So it was really neat. John, what about that other? So I know that you got another kit sitting there that you picked up. These just came in. They're going up on the website in the next day or two, but as soon as you saw it, you snatched one up fast. So what do you got over there?
Well, like I say, if you're going to go big. So this is a new Gecko kit. It was actually announced almost 6 or 7 months ago and disappeared. And all of a sudden, boom, it's out. This is their new, I hope you can see that, their new 1/16 scale Pack 75. It's a beautiful kit. I've seen this built on YouTube.
Okay.
At a show in Japan. Of course, it was painted solid gray to see all the detail, but it was beautifully done. And from what I can see of the parts, it's a fantastically molded kit. I like this.
Okay.
And of course, if you get the gun, you got to have the stuff that makes it go boom. We got the bullets too. We got
there you go.
These. So either one you want, we got a big stock on the shelves.
Good deal, and we'll get those live on the website here shortly. Tom, I don't mean to be leaving you out, but I'm gonna shoot up to Jeff for a minute or two because
okay.
I'm kind of proud of what you and I are going to talk about in a second. So we'll save the best for last.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
Don't worry, Jeff. We're going to come back around. You got good stuff too. Hey, you should be proud of what we're going to talk about with Tom too.
Okay. Well, I guess
you'll be reminded in a moment.
You're gonna have to surprise me here.
Oh well, you'll be surprised. You'll remember in a minute, unless I forgot to tell you.
You probably did, because I'm clueless right now.
All right. Well, Jeff, so you and I really didn't get much time to talk during the show. I mean, once it started Wednesday, Jared and I were ringing stuff up. Jackie was throwing stuff in the bags. Tom was telling people, thank you for your patience. And John, I don't even know what you were doing. You were over there straightening stuff up. And I mean, we were so busy, and you had your area in the back. Tell us a little bit about what was going on back there. Everybody was buying paint by the gallon, it seemed, and 3D parts, all these things that we've been talking about on Wednesday night for months finally was in front of people. So how was the stuff accepted?
We couldn't keep it on the shelf. I think we restocked the paint rack at least 3 times.
Okay.
So the paint was flying. The 3D parts, there had been enough hype leading into it that people were excited about and had a list. They knew what we were going to have there. We burned through most of that. We burned through all of the tank tracks by lunchtime on Thursday.
Right.
They were gone. And I ended up spending most of my time kind of being the walking information kiosk with people, and it ran the full gamut. I had guys coming up to me saying, what colors do I need for USS Indianapolis in 1945? Okay, you need this, and this,
right.
And they'd take their paint and they'd go away. They'd be happy. Then I had other guys, and I'm wearing the Squadron shirt. It has the big logo across the front, and I'm wearing the hat, and I'm sitting in the booth, and I had guys coming up going, do you work for Squadron? No, I'm just loitering here and all of that.
Well, it's funny you say that, though. But if you go back and think about it, we finally got our hats and our shirts available. Yep. Tom's sporting those right now. And the show bag had our logo on one side, had Tidewater's awesome logo featuring the monitor on the other side. So many people were wearing our shirts and our hats, carrying our bags. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that they asked you if you worked there.
Everybody was an employee. And let me jump into something, because someone commented up there further on. We spent an awful lot of time together as a group, busting our collective tails.
Right.
And we unloaded a 53-foot semi in record time. And then had to take all of that stuff off the pallets, out of the boxes, onto the shelves, set up a floor plan and all of that. So, the one thing that I think kind of kept us going, and I'll address this specifically towards Jackie, Jackie's an absolute sweetheart. And the truth of the matter is, she actually kind of runs the operation. We Brandon kind of thinks he does, and Jared kind of, but without Jackie, we're pretty much useless. I mean, let's face it. Things don't.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, things don't get shipped. Things don't, and she's kind of the brake to our collective gas pedals.
Right. Oh, let me add something to that, Jeff, because you mentioned floor plan. So even though Dad didn't get to go, when we got there, we had the 53-foot truck, but we also had a 20-foot truck. And when we got there, our space was not exactly what we thought it was. Actually, it ended up being better in our favor, but nonetheless, our floor plan that we had planned was not going to work.
Nope.
So Jared got on the phone with Dad, and Dad likes doing all that floor plan stuff.
Yep.
And about 30 minutes later, he had an entirely new floor plan for us, sent it, and said, "This is how you set it up."
And we were moving things
even
on
though
the
he
fly.
wasn't there, even though he wasn't there, he was still working as hard as we were there for the first part of Tuesday, making sure that
Jared's got a phone in one hand talking to Russ, and he's got a tape measure in the other, and he was just, he was a traffic cop in the middle of a traffic jam and pulled it all together. But one of the things that I think kind of kept this from becoming overwhelming is that, we were all kind of just picking on each other a little bit in an absolutely like more like siblings than anything else. And that kind of it broke the stress on so many different occasions because we had a line, we had a line in the booth the whole day on Wednesday. And there's a lot of stress that goes in that because you feel guilty that people are standing in line and you want to get them through the process and get them back out onto the floor as quickly as possible. So yeah, if you saw us kind of picking on each other a little bit, and I think I did the bunny ears to Jackie once, and then what you didn't see was she elbowed me in the ribs off camera. So I mean, it works both ways, and there were box cutters flying around and all kinds of things, water bottles being thrown at each other. But we had a great time. And the unique part about it was I think that everyone that came in that interacted with us collectively, whether it was you guys at the register or Jackie finding a kid or something like that, helping someone, or me answering questions, it was obvious and it was apparent that we were having fun, even though we were working our tails off. And that kind of conveys to the customers. The customers had a good time. We entertained them in addition to selling them stuff.
Well, I hope everybody liked the music we were playing.
Yeah,
I know I did. That was fun. How it was, I always talk about bringing my arcade games because that's one of my other hobbies. But it was really neat whenever the dad would come in and bring the wife and the kids. He's looking for models, and the kids are over there playing, Pac-Man and Street Fighter and whatever else was on those machines. So it was a lot of fun. And like you said, Jeff, it was a lot of work, but we enjoy doing that. That's part of what we do. And we want to put on a good show for you guys, to make it more of an experience rather than just a place to buy something. So all I can say is we try to outdo ourselves each year, and we're already planning for next year. So
the only thing that kind of caught me off guard is I walked up to Brandon and he leans over and he says, "We're live on camera. Don't say anything stupid." To which my response was, I can't promise that's going to happen. I'll just walk away.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, we had a great time.
Well, let me jump down here to Tom for a second. Tom?
Yeah.
You, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty confident in this statement. You're the only one on this panel here that actually entered the model contest.
I guess I was.
I guess you were.
I took 15 models.
15 models. Now, what categories do you generally enjoy? And specifically, what categories did you enter this time?
This time I entered some vintage things like vintage aircraft,
Okay.
vintage automotive, and vintage sci-fi.
Okay. All right. Well, what was your take of the model contest this time, as far as size, the room, the people enjoying what they were looking at, just your overall feel of this contest room? What were your thoughts?
Every time I go to the Nationals, there's always something that catches your eye or something that you're going, wow, that's unique, or it's just, hey, this guy done some work on this model right here, like the large scale Olympia.
Okay.
The battleship Olympia.
Oh yeah.
Or the United States.
Yep.
Or the I don't know what the designation was for the destroyer, but the large scale destroyer. They were all gorgeous.
Well, those are all the same guy.
I didn't look at the paperwork, but I figured it must have been.
Well, the guy that took best of show took it with a 1916, right, Jeff?
I think it was supposed to be 1918, but
whatever it was the 16. Early cage mast version of the USS Arizona.
Yeah.
Yes,
200
yes,
as
very,
long.
very nice. Very nice.
That guy is the same guy that built that Olympia, that United States, that destroyer escort, and I think that PT boat.
Correct.
Yes.
All those huge things was the same guy. I mean, he's got way more time than me. He is a fantastic modeler, and it was real. I walked in, and you can see a 10-foot United States from the other side of the room.
Yeah, the man definitely needs a hobby.
Yeah, he needs a big hobby.
Well,
he needs a big house too.
I'm joking.
So that's the kind of stuff that grabbed your attention this time, Tom.
Say it again.
I said, so that's the kind of stuff that grabbed your attention.
That one, and like I said, the monitor was very impressive. The
Yep.
large scale monitor was very
Yep.
impressive. I like the way they did the water.
Which one? There was two.
I know, but the
Okay.
large scale one that was over there near the sci-fi section.
Okay.
The one with Abraham Lincoln.
Yes,
Yep.
the one with Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah,
Exactly.
paying
That was
the
gorgeous.
visit. Yeah,
Yep.
spectacular work.
Very,
Yep.
very nice. Very nice.
All right. Well, so you know where I'm going with this, Tom. So how did you end up Saturday night? I know you took some trophies home. I know you took 3 first place. What else did you take?
I took a bronze for a piece that I'd been taking to the show for many, many years,
Okay.
put it in vignettes, and it finally got recognized. It was just a little Panzer I,
Okay.
35th scale.
Well,
and,
good.
You know, I thought it was nice.
Okay. Well, the one that I want to specifically mention is your snow speeder. And I think you
Okay.
said that was vintage sci-fi.
It was vintage sci-fi. It's an old, I think it's an AMT kit made in the late 70s.
Okay. And that took first place.
It took a first place. Yes.
All
it
right.
did.
Well, here you go, Jeff. This is why you're going to like this. He used our paint to do it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
There you
and
go.
and Tom, is this your first Nats win? Is this
Oh,
like
no.
your you've done this
I've done-
before?
he-
I've done
he's the-
25.
Yeah,
I've done
he's our
25
veteran.
Nats in a row.
Okay, well, I was going to say welcome to the club, but you've already been there. So
He is our seasoned veteran. He's the man around the squadron
I'm
shop.
not trying to brag, but I've done my fair share. Exactly.
Well, that's great, Tom. I congratulations on that. And all those models that Tom entered and won with, we've got pictures of them that we're going to show off in next week's show and tell, which, by the way, I'll say it again before we end tonight, but next week, August 20th, is our next show and tell. So make sure you send me your show and tell submissions for this month at info@squadron.com. Well, John, what about you, man? What was your feeling about the contest room? Was there a lot of artillery that inspired you? What was in there that you liked?
Well, actually, I liked the Olympia too. It was an excellent model, but that gentleman actually took time to put the entire crew on the deck, and that was unbelievable. And of course, the destroyer was unbelievable to get close at it and look at the detail. And you think, like you say, people have more time than I would ever have.
Oh yeah,
Stuff together like that, it's unbelievable.
oh yeah, it really is. Well, let me shoot over here to Jackie. Well, I mean, being this is your first nationals, I mean, what did you think when you walked into just shy of 3,000 models in a contest room?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
I mean, did anything particularly stand out to you? I know you judged Friday night, so you got an up close and front row seat. You were doing figures, right?
Yes, I did figures.
Okay, well, give us a little. Was that a nice experience? You get to see. I guess Frank told you this is what we look for, and you got a little bit better understanding of how these things go together now, right?
Oh yeah, I learned a lot. It was super fun. So I had a good time actually. I would like to do it again.
All right, yeah, we'll start seeing. We've got some airbrushes coming into the shop soon, guys, and I'm gonna start seeing little orders at the checkout for Jackie for airbrushes and paint and glue. We finally, by the way, I meant to tell you this earlier. We finally have super glue. We've been in business for years without super glue. We're going to fix that problem. These will go live on the website tomorrow. But what about you, Jared? What stuck out to you this year?
So I judged figures as well this year, which was a new experience. I did ships the last 2 years, so it's kind of a different ball ground judging figures after ships. But
right,
I learned a lot in getting into figure building myself. Now I kind of know what they look for and kind of help myself going forward with them. But there's just impressive work. Some of the work these people do on the figures, especially the small scale, the detail that they can get on there is just incredible. There was a lot of good things to look at. My personal favorite was I think it was an Italian knight, and the way that he did the helmet.
That took best
did
figure.
like a reflection. Yeah, took best figure.
Took best figure.
Had the reflection of like the forest behind him, and it was just incredible.
Okay.
Great.
Well, Jared, several people in the chat are asking about that kit on your on top of your Hell Knight back there. Show us what you got back there.
Got the C-Lab Doll and Hobby kit that finally made it over here. Had to pick myself up one. Really looking forward to putting this one together. I saw
guys,
Steve's had a build up at the show of it. So
these are brand new tooling. This is based on the original Aurora kit. But if you know the history of this kit, that Aurora tooling is long gone. It does not exist anymore. So what Steve at Doll and Hobby did was he has an original kit, and they literally reverse engineered it and created an all new tooling version of the C-Lab. If I understand correctly, they took a little bit of artistic license and fixed a few parts to where they'll fit together better. But overall, it is as close to a copy of the original, utilizing modern technology as possible. And those are in stock and available on our website now. So
they are drawing a lot of attention in the various Facebook model groups and forums and whatnot. I've never seen a kit really take on a life of its own. And this one has. People are really talking it up and are excited about it.
Well, it's really neat what they did, making a new tool of an old kit. So, all right. So the way, and it was nice to see you at the show too, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Good hanging out and talking.
So many of you guys were there. So if I know that we're not focused 100% on the chat tonight, so if I missed some of you, I do apologize. But so the way says, can you order these bags? So it was never the intention to have these be able to be ordered, but considering we donated these to the club at the end, Charles was kind enough to give us the extras. They did have some left over, and we're going to put them on the website, charge a few bucks for them, just to cover costs, and you guys be able to get one of these. They're very nice. One of the things that I didn't even realize till Jared pointed this out, when you open this up on the side, it's got a nice little drink holder here. So
Hey, yeah.
I didn't even know this at the show. I don't know if any of you guys realized this, but yeah, there you go. Got a little drink carrier on the side. But we do. I honestly have no idea how many of these we have. He brought over a box or two and said, "Hey, here's the extra bags." So they are still loaded up on a pallet somewhere. The warehouse kind of looks like a bomb went off back there at the moment.
Kind of like my shop.
Yeah, no, this looks worse. I promise. But Tom and John and the rest of the guys back in the warehouse are working through it as quick as we can, and we'll have those up on the website hopefully in the next couple of days, beginning of next week at the latest, for sure. So, all right, well, let me jump back down to you, John. Outside of the vendor room and what we had going on, and of course, you mentioned a little bit of the contest. Did you get a chance to see any of the rest of the show? Did you do any of the seminars, any of the tours? Did you get a chance to see anything else outside of the vendor room and contest room?
The tour wise, I basically did that myself.
Okay.
Did the tours. I spent endless time basically just walking the aisles back and forth, because every time you walk, I would always see something I didn't see the first time.
I got you.
And it was really interesting to do that. But I'd like to say one thing.
All right.
I was sitting at a table beside Jeff, and I watched this man keep the coolest demeanor, trying to convince a gentleman that the color blue he wanted was the color blue he needed. And he even pulled out the great government Bible with color chips, and to see the skepticism on this man's face. And Jeff never lost it. He just said, "Sir, this is it or it's not it. It's not blue, it's not orange, it's not brown, it's the blue you want, believe me."
Yeah, that was kind of funny, because as everyone in the camouflage world knows, that the 1929 Munsell Book of Color is kind of that's the Bible. That's everyone references it. And he came in and, well, how do I know this is right? So what do? I pull out the most perfect ace up my sleeve. I said, well, the 1929 Munsell Book of Color is the standard for all of this, right? Oh, yeah. So out comes the 1929 Munsell Book of Color, and he looked at it and he goes, and he walked away.
You should have seen Jeff's face when I pulled that book out of the trailer. He's like, I can't believe you brought that here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I thought you might need it. He's like,
Yeah.
that's sacred. That's supposed to be in a display case. I'm like, all right, well, don't lose it.
Yeah.
But it was,
well, and thanks, John. I mean, I did, it was the overwhelming majority of the folks that come through, they're excited, they're happy. I literally had guys like, remember when we were kids and you'd go picking berries and you'd like pull your t-shirt out and you use your t-shirt as like a basket. I had guys that had bottles of paint like in their shirt, and they're, so finally we're like giving them cardboard boxes, and I think Jackie found a little
I was going
plastic,
to say that was Jackie's idea. So good job.
plastic
on that.
basket and whatnot. The overwhelming majority of the people that came through were great. And then, like everything else, there's always a curmudgeon here or there. And you could tell him that this was a P-51 kit and hold it in his face and he'd argue with you, okay, whatever. Just here, have a nice day. Go away. So, we did have that. And even John, John is the most mellow, laid back guy. And he's just sitting next to me going,
well, the good thing about it is with so many products out there, especially with pain and all these things, a lot of time before, if you don't have a Munsell Book of Color, you don't know.
There aren't many people who do. Yeah.
You're right. And there's so many colors out there that, we have been told, or we have assumed, or, we thought we knew this is what it looked like. And then all of a sudden out comes the Munsell, and everything we thought we've known for years is wrong. And so who knows? Yeah, Ron, those books are not cheap. So we're very happy to have one.
It got locked up every night, by the way.
Yeah. The bad thing is I don't actually know where it is right this very moment.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's here. It's somewhere physically at my house, but I came home and unloaded everything, and it's here. Don't worry, Jeff. Look at Jeff's face.
Jeff looks a little concerned.
Oh yeah,
Just a little.
All right. Well, Tom, what about you, buddy? Did you get a chance to do anything besides? I know sometimes I saw you disappear, so I hope you got to enjoy something. Did you see anything besides vendor room and contest room? Did you get to do anything else?
That was pretty much it. We did a little day trip over to Virginia Beach, because that's where we were. They used to hold it over there back in I think 2002, 2008. Yep. They did it at Virginia Beach proper, and we wanted to go back over there for a day, so we went and spent the day over there. Was basically all we did, other than the show.
Right.
But I know when I came through one time, you wanted me to go back there and talk to the folks that were in line to make sure everybody was happy.
Oh yeah,
everybody was happy. Everybody.
Okay,
they shook my hands and said, "I'm glad to be here."
Well, I'm glad you did that, because I wanted to, but I couldn't leave, and I just wanted to make sure everybody knew we appreciated their patience. And Tom, I just thought of something, and I feel very bad about this. I just realized that there was one other person there who is a Squadron employee who works here with us in Ringgold that was a big help at the show, and that's your wife, Terry.
Yes.
Yep, she was there too, and she was a bit. Every time I look back there, she's back there straightening up accessories and putting all the whether it was Res Kit or Black Cat or whatever, she's back there just organizing things, and
a very good organizer.
She is, and she does a great job at the shop. So make sure she knows that how appreciative we are that she was there helping us as well.
One of the good things about the line is that I would kind of walk up and down the line, and when I see somebody with a kit or something like that, I say, "Hey, do you have the right paint colors for that?"
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, I don't. Well, I said, well, here, I'll lose my spot in line. I'm like, I'll get them for you. So I'd run over.
There you go.
Do you have photo etch for that? You have photo etch for that? Yeah, sure. Let me go get it for you. So there were a couple of guys that I started talking to them as they were on the curl of the line. They made the 90-degree turn, And I was still handing stuff to them as they were walking up to the
There
register.
you go. No, everybody was really happy being there. I didn't see any sad faces. Saw a lot of kids in the hands ready to go, and everybody seemed like they were having a great time.
Do you
Oh,
know
yeah.
who was the happiest?
Who's that?
A gentleman named Eric Adams. And Eric walks up and he says, "Is that a 135th scale Dora over there in the corner?" And I said, "It is. And it could be yours."
Oh yeah.
And his eyes lit up, and I went and I talked to Brandon and
Well, Jeff walks over to me and he says, "Hey, you got a minute?" And I'm like, "Not really. What's up?" He says, "You're really going to want to come seal the deal on this sale."
Yep.
I said, "Well, can't that's fine, but can't you do it? You're good at that." And he's like, "No, you're really going to want to come know who's buying something."
Yeah.
I walked over there, and as he takes me over, I said, "Oh, somebody wants the Dora." So of course I had to talk to him about that for a minute. It's people that buy a 35th scale Dora, we're like a cult. So welcome to the club, Eric.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, he was so happy, and he came back the next day, and he was like the cat with the canary, and he just had a
Right.
grin from ear to ear, and he had a bounce in his step, and he was all just yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good.
And look at it this way, we didn't have to carry it home. That box is huge.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Always
Jeff, who was the kid that we hooked up with some half tracks? Do you remember his name?
Eli.
Eli. Yeah, Eli was. I don't know how old he is. I got to figure he's about my son's age, but
Yeah,
Eli
is 13.
13. He is
and
my
he
son's age.
is from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So he is from my neck of the woods. He and his mom were walking around, and I feel really bad. So if by some remote chance they are listening and or watching, his dad threw his back out and he was like immobile.
Yeah,
So
he was there, but he had to sit in the room.
Eli's dad couldn't even get out of bed. His back was so bad. So Eli and his mom were running around and doing the show. So yeah, I guess you caught a bit of the conversation.
He kept coming by, and I mean, it's an unfortunate fact, but most of the modelers walking around are not young, and especially not that young.
Right.
And after he comes in the booth and he buys buys whatever, just little this or little that. Yep. Then the next day he comes, you start noticing, hey, I think this kid's into building models. Well, by the last day, I just wanted to hook him up with something,
Yep.
seeing a kid into model building. So I asked him what he was into. He likes 35th scale German armor. So we went back, found something cool, gave it to him. He was, of course, very appreciative and looking forward to, I told him about the show and tell. So I hope that we might have some junior entries to go along with Bean's junior entries on the show and tell. So that'll be really neat.
And Beans, for those of you who were there, Beans was the young lady who was running around, and she also judged in figures. This is like her second or third nationals as a judge.
He was the one doing the weirdo models, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And she is the daughter of Merrick Rogel, who was my registrar for the Madison National Convention last year. So even though she's only 14 years old, she's kind of a veteran in this whole process. So Beans took 2 awards home as well. Cool. From her models that she entered. So we're very proud of her for that. She was kind of hanging around the booth quite a bit too. She's a pip. She's super funny. But getting back to Eli, that was one of those things that, Brandon says, well, here, you need this anti-tank gun. And the kid looks at it and his eyes are wide. And then he goes, come here, let's go here. And he grabs me, what can we give this kid? And I'm like, wait a minute, you don't want me giving away your stuff.
Well, the door was already gone, so I knew I wasn't.
Yeah, so here's a 16th scale tank, Yeah. But then Brandon gave him the box set of the 2 half tracks, and I told him, I said, you got 1 half track that's kind of a standalone, but you've got the other one that you can connect this Tamiya anti-tank gun to, and oh, wait, you need paint. So we take him over to the paint rack, and you need one of these. So we handed him a whole bunch of paint. Then as he's leaving, some of the guys, Adam and Andy Taylor that worked with us, they told Steve Munzel from Value Gear, who was across the aisle from us, and Steve's like, oh, here. So Steve's handed him like packs and bed rolls and all kinds of accessories to go in his half track. That kid walked away. You know, he
hit the jackpot that night.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
you know, so one of the things that we did, you know, everybody does these poker chip things.
Mhm.
We do our version, which is this little pin, and it just says Squadron. It says, keep up the good work. We love this, and nice model. And it says Squadron 2025.
Right.
So Friday night, Jackie and Jared had a bag of them. I had a bag of them. And we basically walk around kind of like the poker chips do, and no rhyme or reason about it. Just if it catches my eye, like for example, had there been a Dora there, I would have probably left him too. You know, it's just whatever catches your eye. But one thing that we always try to do is every single junior modeler gets one of these.
Yeah.
So we go over there, and there was a lot of junior entries this year, and we made sure, as far as we know, we left one for each junior, not each model, but each junior. And we came back through there Saturday night, and I don't know Vlad's son's name, the photographer guy, or used to be the photographer guy, Vladimir. His son can't be more than 5 or 6 years old. I mean, maybe 7. I don't know. But I saw him coming through there. He was wearing 2 of these. He had some other people's poker chips, and then he won some awards during the banquet. That little boy was jumping up and down like he had just been to Disney World. He was so happy that people digged his models. And so we say it all the time. The juniors are the future of this hobby.
Yes,
And,
they are.
you know, as small as it may be, if giving them something like this makes them happy, I mean, it's just really neat. So
I think a lot of it too is you keep it into perspective. You know, if one of us gets recognition for a project or a job well done, whatnot, it's a fleeting moment. You know, but when you're a kid, you know, and someone bestows that recognition upon you, whether it's a poker chip or, you know, he's going to carry that with him. You know, that's going to form a lasting memory.
Well, you know, you met Jeff and his son, tall guy, and they were they bought the 200 scale Arizonas.
Yes.
Okay. So we met him. He's from Clayton, Georgia. We met him years ago when we first got started, and his son was like, I don't know, 12, maybe, if that. And it's kind of like, you know, these other kids we're talking about. He was sweeping them in the contest, beating everybody. Well, as it goes, he found girls in cars, at least cars, I know. They work on real cars. But that's the old running joke, you know, you get 16, you find cars, you find girls, and then you quit doing models. And then what happens? You grow up a little bit, you come back to models, and that's where he's at now. He's a grown man, and it's coming all the way back around. And this was him and his dad's first nationals in years. I mean, I don't remember exactly, but I bet I hadn't seen him in 10 years. And now he's all excited about modeling again. So, you know, get these kids into modeling while they're young, and, you know, they grow up, you know, go to college, do whatever they do, but when they settle back down, they'll come back to it.
That was one of the coolest. That was one of the coolest interactions that I had the entire nationals, and I can't remember her name, but Jeff's wife is also a ship modeler,
right,
and just kind of recently came into the hobby. So when we first got there, he comes right over to me and we start talking, and it started out with a pair of 200 scale Iowas, then it transitioned from 200 scale Iowas to the new Chew and Lou 350th Arizona. Then it went from 2 of those to 200 scale Fletchers, and then it transitioned into the 200 scale Arizonas. So no matter what, it was a his and hers build.
Yep.
and I'm throwing camouflage at them. And I was like, well, if you both get in Arizona, you can paint it in 5D and you can paint it in 5S and you could paint it in number 5 standing navy gray. And if you do Iowa's, you could do Iowa and you could do Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
And Missouri. And they were just kind of like,
You gonna get Tom? You gonna get Terry to do that? Do a his and her model kit?
Terry's more of a sketcher and a drawer than she is a model builder. She'd make a good judge, but
Yeah.
I don't think I could get her. She might try a snap tight one day.
I got you. I got you.
But that was really cool because they went through like, everything that they wanted was in a pair, and it was little stuff, it was big stuff, it was little stuff. And then when they finally did settle, then they went over to the paint rack and emptied out like all the number 5 standard navy gray. It was gone. All the 5SC blue was gone.
You mentioned a while ago about the young boy winning all the chips and everything.
Yep.
And he was just elated with that. Well, as you just said, those people are the future of this hobby. And I have never, ever known, either building models, painting figures, anything else, anyone would not hesitate to share all the knowledge they have with a new upcoming young person. I've seen this happen many a times, that someone who paints a figure, like a museum figure, they will let that young person know exactly, use this, don't use this, use this. There's no trade secrets.
No.
It's open to everybody.
There's no time for that anymore.
No.
No. Get them involved.
There's no time for that. And I've always kind of, and I am by no stretch of the imagination a world-class modeler. There's a lot of guys out there that are 100 times better that aren't even trying, but I don't have any secrets. If somebody wants to know how I did something, this is how I did it, and
that's kind of, Jared was asking me some modeling questions right before this show got started, because he's relatively new in all this, and, anything I can do to help. And Jackie's over there making a list of things she's got to ask us tomorrow, but that's one of the really cool things about getting hooked up with your local IPMS chapter.
Or AMPS club or
whatever modeling club there is. We say IPMS because we just came back from national, so it's on the mind. But there's a lot of different types of modeling groups out there, and being a part of that, you get to, when here in Chattanooga, we have a monthly meeting, and we all get together and we talk about kind of do what we're doing now, but we're doing it in person, and we have a show and tell. You bring your models and, hey, this is what I built and this is how I did it. Everybody gets to trade tips and advice back and forth. And it's a really cool thing. And of course, then when you go to the nationals, just go hang around a good looking model on the table for a few minutes, and somebody's going to start up a conversation about how it was done, good, bad, or indifferent. The conversation's going to get started about it.
The canning on the oil canning on the bow of that Missouri that was there. That was one of those things that, unless you were looking at it at the right angle with the proper light, you didn't even know that the modeler had done it.
It was there. That's true.
And for those who don't know, oil canning, when a ship is really pushing through heavy seas, those smooth plates actually kind of become concave, because the force of the water actually kind of pushes them in, and it creates a wave effect in the steel. This modeler actually replicated that on the ship.
It was fantastic,
and it was just some spectacular work.
Well, let me get over here to Jackie, Jeff. Jackie,
here we go.
No, you're good. Tell us something that stuck out to you while you were judging. I mean, you were super new at all this. You're not new on the business side. Jackie's been with us for years, but from the actual modeling side, you're just getting into it. So what kind of, blew you away at these figure modelers, and what are, if you were going to build one of these, what do you see as the most challenging thing that's, for a beginner? What's the word? What's intimidating to you if you were to get started in these figures like you want to?
Some of those figures were so detailed, like with the cloth and the shading and everything. Like, they were so good.
Yeah.
There was this one model that I remember. We just called her the Tokyo Dancer. I can't remember what she was called, but it was a girl wearing a fabric dress, and just the way they had painted the fabric, it would look so good, and her hair was so detailed with every strand like painted.
Right.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, how many figures did y'all have? I know
Oh,
Frank could probably tell us the exact number, but I mean, what do you? I mean, it took y'all longer to judge figures than it did us ships.
yeah, it took us a long time to vote too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, Jared. Do you remember how many?
How many
Hold on, say
figures
that
were there?
again. Oh,
How many
total.
figures?
Oh gosh, I couldn't say.
I mean,
There was one
y'all had
category
a
that,
bunch.
yeah, one category that I helped judge had 28, and that was
Mm.
just one category.
We had one
Our-
category that was about 20 something too.
Yeah, so there was upwards of somewhere between 60 and 80, maybe.
Wow.
Something
Well,
like that.
Yeah.
did y'all have anything to do with the Gundam, or was that separate from the figures?
That one is a separate category.
Okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
there
I
was
thought it
tons of
was.
those too.
Yeah, there was a real good show on that. John, you and Tom being the at the risk of making you mad here, you being the old guard, so to speak. You've been around these IPMS shows a lot longer than especially Jared, Jackie, and I, but even
Over
Jeff to a
100.
certain extent. What are your thoughts about all this? You know, the Gundam. This is a new category. It's this year. It was a very well attended category. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? They certainly look interesting to me. I don't know anything about them, but what are your guys' thoughts on this new category?
It's like you say, it's a new category. It is a way to get the youngsters interested in model building, and maybe that once they get into the Gundams, maybe they'll branch out into other things.
Right.
And I think that has happened in a few cases. I've seen the guys that have done the Gundams and have started doing ship models or
Yep.
armor or aircraft. They'll do something different.
Right. Well, I know one of our guys right up the road, Jason. He's big into the Gundams, but he's a fantastic airplane modeler too. I
There
mean,
you
so
go. Absolutely.
it's interesting. What about you, John? What are your thoughts on this new category?
Well, something new like this, just because they don't build a plane or a ship, you can't slam the door in their face and say,
Right.
I'm not going to allow this, because let it run its course. It may turn into something good. It may die out in the future. You never know, but just let it do its own thing, and we'll find out in the future whether it's something people want to get into or not.
Yeah, it seems to keep growing. It was interesting that they had and Jared, you and Jackie may being over there at least near that category with your figure judging. If I understood correctly, they had a subcategory for basically out of the box, but then they also had a category for painted, because a lot of those kits come pre-painted. But some of those guys that go ahead and prime over it, I guess, and then paint it their own way, I mean, they just looked fantastic. Was that something that y'all saw over there on your end?
Yeah, they did have a few different ways that it was broken up, and some of the ones that were painted, I actually saw a couple that the modeler turned them into like a military scheme, which I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
So they got really creative with that entire category. That was very interesting to go walk through and kind of check out what they're doing over there.
Well, that'd be right up your alley, Tom, turning stuff into military. You'd be the kind of guy that turns an ATST into some German 1946 something or another. So
I've done that in the past. I've turned aircraft into ground pounders.
okay.
Sort of a Mad Max type looking stuff.
What is that thing you got sitting in our display case right now? That I don't even know what it is. A 3-wheeled looking something or another.
It's a 3-wheel. It started out life as an old monogram kit of a BF 190, or it was a Focke-Wulf 190.
Okay.
In 48 scale, and I turned it into a 35th scale Mad Max looking, apocalyptic vehicle.
Okay. Well, and Tom and I have talked about this before now, so I'm not throwing him under the bus here, but we're going to have Tom back here in a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about that, because that is kit bashing. We're going to talk about
Yeah, it's a
kit
kickback.
bashing, talk about some modeling. One of the things I want to do, we've been talking about new products, paint, mostly paint, 3D stuff. We've been talking about nationals for so long now. But now that we're through all this, we're going to get back to kind of a scheduled show, and we're going to start bringing in some people to talk about actual modeling techniques. And Tom's going to come on. We're going to talk about some kit bashing and just doing some different things. And kit bashing can be a very, very good way to hone in your skills. And then one of the, I asked you guys what kind of took your attention in the contest room. I got to say, perhaps my favorite model in the contest room for myself, if you happen to see that Stalingrad diorama.
Big, large
Oh,
stall.
it was a huge, probably, it may have been the largest diorama there, 35th scale. Very, very cool. I took some pictures of that. I took some video of that. I talked to the gentleman that built that. He's going to be on the show in a few weeks, and we're just going to go through that because there's so much in that. And there's so many different types of technique. I mean, he's got ground, he's got figures, he's got buildings, he's got trains, he's got tanks, he's got a plane flying. There are so many different techniques. So we're going to talk to him about that. You may have seen the scratch-built International Space Station over against the wall. Yep. The gentleman that built that, he's going to be coming on the show, and we're going to be talking about that. So we're going to start doing some of this kind of stuff once a month, just to talk about different skill sets that might help with our model building. So just some interesting stuff. Now, Jeff, let me go back to you for a second, because you kind of headed up this project. In our booth up on the front in the red table, we had a couple P-47s. We had a B-26 on display. We also had, and this was a surprise, I didn't realize this was coming, we had one of the ICM Tarhe Sky Crane helicopters on display, and I've got the gentleman's name written down that built it, and I left the paper at the shop. So if anybody in the chat, I think I know the guy's name, but I don't want to say it without being certain. Please comment in here. But the P-47s, that was Matt and John that built those. Those are your buddies.
Yep.
And I know that you were planning one, but it didn't make it, and that's not a problem. But thanks to Matt and John on those. Tell us real quick which versions of those planes that they built.
So as you know, the P-47 Nats show exclusive model came with 3 markings. It came with Georgia Peach, which is an all natural P-47, which I managed to get the paint on it and managed to get it masked and the markings painted, and they just ran out of time. The other 2 aircraft were Raid Hot Mama and Yankee Tar Heel. So John Bernstein, a good friend of mine, who is the weapons curator at the United States Museum of the Marine Corps.
We had him on the show a few weeks ago.
He was on the show a few weeks ago. He did Raid Hot Mama. And contrary to, John obviously being a curator at the Marine Corps Museum, he's one of the foremost P-47 and Huey Cobra experts in the country. He's written multiple books, including Squadron signal books on the subjects. Matt Mathis is local, one of our club members here in Madison. He was the treasurer of the 2024 National Convention that we had here in Madison, and he built Yankee Tar Heel. So there's
John's Raid Hot Mama.
Yep. And then Matt did the other olive drab P-47 Yankee Tar Heel. Yankee Tar Heel. Superlative work. And then Matt did the ICM B-26 as Yo-Yo Champ, which is one of we had 8 or 10 decal options.
10 different decal options inside that kit.
So he picked Yo-Yo Champ, and
this is that Sky Crane.
I was really kind of, I'll admit I was kind of bummed because I brought the hind. You can see the tail rotor in the photo there. There's the hind.
There it is.
And I thought I was going to have the biggest helicopter on the table, and then the target makes it kind of mini. And then Jeff Barrett from the Madison Club brought the TBD Devastator that he painted using scale colors, Squadron
Yeah,
colors.
I didn't get a picture of that. I took these pictures before that showed up.
Yeah. Well, if you back up, it's in there. It's in the
Oh, it
photo.
is?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're off to
yeah,
the
look
right
at that.
there. So we use that opportunity to put the U.S. Navy pre-war colors out with the hind, the colors that
Oh,
I
yeah.
used on the hind.
Yeah, and this is that Pack 38, by the way.
Yeah.
The surprise release.
Yep. And you know what's kind of funny is I know that I didn't realize it until I was packing it up. And
That I stole your base.
I'm looking at it and I'm going, the model is really good, but wow, they really kind of slacked off on the base. They could have done so much more. And then I realized it was my base.
Well,
There's
brought that
supposed to be
over.
an airplane on it.
They
There's
brought
supposed to
that
be an
over, and
airplane
I
on it.
stuck it, and I saw that, and I was like, it may not, might not be built for this, but at least it gives it something. So
It puts it into context. But yeah, and then I'm looking at it going, wow, that looks familiar. But
it was neat. We had some nice stuff on display on the front table.
Absolutely.
You see there on to the side of it the coffee cups. So we had coffee cups, we had mouse pads. Of course, you see the shot glass there, but the mouse pads. I didn't realize that they were going to be such a big hit. Of course, I told many of you my mom made those, and when we got done with the show, I said, "Well, Mom, get the printer going because we're going to need a lot more of those." You guys really like those. So we had too much fun. We really did.
We had way too much fun. And as I said earlier, we were picking on each other like siblings. We had a lot of laughs. And it really kind of, the crazy part is you're on your feet all day. The floors are hard concrete, your feet hurt, your back hurts, but it just seemed like we'd show up in the morning and we'd say hello to each other, and then it was nonstop banter for like 8 hours, and then we were physically exhausted, and we did that just rinse and repeat for 4 days.
Oh yeah.
And then of course the obligatory Taco Bell runs.
Oh yeah,
we're all too tired to go out
because you gotta use Squadron hot sauce on your tacos.
Yeah. And I can tell you this: Jackie is the ultimate Taco Bell expert.
Oh my gosh!
See, we're standing around like a bunch of idiots trying to figure out what we want. And she's like, I'm hungry.
She knows exactly.
And the next thing you know, the order's ready, and we're Jared and I are just kind of looking at each other, going, stay out of the way and we won't get hurt.
There you go. Hey, Frank gave us the answer on this. 177 figures is what y'all had.
We love
awesome.
Jackie.
I was undershooting. I would be terrible at that. Guess how many M&Ms are in the jar game?
Well, you can do a lot of little figures on an 8-foot table, so
Very true.
Man.
they stack up.
Yep.
Well, guys, I'll go through you one at a time. Anything else you want to add, Jeff? I'll start with you, and I'll hit Jared, Jackie, Tom, and then with you, John. What you got to add, Jeff, for the show?
It was I have now completed the Triple Crown of IPMS Nationals. I have gone to Nationals as purely a spectator participant. I have gone to the Nationals as the guy actually running the show. I was the chairman last year for Madison, and I have gone to the Nationals now as a what we would call an anchor vendor. I've been to previous Nationals with my little one table selling, 2 or 3 bottles of paint at a time, but this is the first time that I've ever been in crazed mode for 4 straight days. So it's really interesting to kind of see it from a bunch of different angles. And I just want to, give a big shout out to Tom and Charles and the staff at Tidewater for putting on yet another great show. It's inevitable that you have a soft spot in your heart for your own show. But I'll tell you, this one's in my top 5 of all time. So that's, that's going back quite a ways.
Well, we always say we try to outdo ourselves at each show. You got to believe that, Fort Wayne, they're looking at what Tidewater did, and the goal is to make the show better each year. So, so awesome. Well, Jared, what about you, buddy? What would you add to this before we get out of here?
Well, it was a great time as always. Already looking forward to next year, and it was just really good to see everybody. It's nice to see all of our customers face to face. We email or talk on the phone, but it's always really good to have that face-to-face contact. So I can't wait to see everybody again.
Absolutely. All right, Jackie, your turn. What do you have for us? What are you going to add to this before we get out of here for the night?
I guess kind of the same as Jared. I had a really great time. It was nice to meet everybody, and another big thank you to everybody that helped us. We need a lot of help.
Absolutely. Yep.
You're going to go with us next year?
Yes, I would love to
Oh,
come
good.
again.
She
I had a good
only
time.
paused for like a split second.
No, I really did have fun. I would love to go again. Yeah.
Good deal. Well, what about you, Tom?
Every Nationals is always a great time for me. I love going there, and I enjoyed working with you guys this year. And I've been with you just a little over a year, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And looking forward to next year.
Well, we certainly appreciate you. So it was good to have you up there with us. John, how about you, buddy? Last but not least.
Well, it's always nice to walk down and I see a really fantastic model on the table, and I realize I've got that same model in a box that's been on the shelf for 3 years.
Well, you going to get it out and build it then?
Well,
It all depends how motivated he is.
Yeah. It's easier to talk about it and think about it, isn't it?
there was one little thing I'm surprised. I just thought about it today. Maybe Tom saw one, I don't know, but I did not recall seeing it. One of those big 32nd scale B-17s or B-24s in that show.
In the contest, yeah.
Don't remember seeing one.
You know, and I'll say this too, in the vendor room, you know, I know John and Tom and all you guys, you try to adhere to my house rules for being on the show. But, you know, in the vendor room, we meet so many different people. I know John talked about it was interesting getting to meet Andy. You know, I was over talking to Gordon and somebody walks up and takes a picture of us and says, "Hey, I'm going to post this in the IPMS journal." And there's so many other vendors there. This is a very, very small market in the grand scheme of things. And we're all cordial. You know, we all shake hands. We all say, hey, and we're all competitors. And I can't speak for them, but I can speak for myself. I try to be friends with everybody. There are so many good people in that vendor room. A lot of them that we do work with, like Vlad and the Edward team were there. Special Hobby, George and Freddie were there. Of course, the guys at Tamiya. And the list goes on and on. I know that Russ over on the MMD side, he had about 5 or 6 dealers that were there. And I don't even know who all was showing, but several of his dealers that buy stuff from him were there. They were a little disappointed they didn't get to see Russ, but I know that Jackie represented MMD for him as best she could.
I tried.
So it's really neat on the retail side of things to see all of you guys, our customers, but on the business side of things, that, you know, behind the scenes, so to speak, it's also interesting for us to see our friends in the business, whether we work with them directly or not. Anybody that produces models is okay in my book, because we want to sell everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of stuff in that room that we don't sell, we can't sell for whatever reason. But any product that's being brought to the market is good because it is keeping the hobby alive. So the vendor room that Mike was the vendor coordinator, he had so many vendors in there. I don't know how many tables, but hundreds of tables. And it was just really, really, really good to see that much product in that room for sale, all in one place, and seeing all those customers buying that stuff.
I think Tom said 465 was their
465. Wow. So well over 400 tables worth of vending. So awesome. Yeah. Plastic Model Mojo. Wish you had found a few minutes to play Galaga. Well, come down and see us. We like to keep Galaga going here in the store. So are we going to have, we wanted to have a Galaga challenge this year, but I couldn't coordinate it. And I don't know if I'd been able to keep up with it.
I just had a great idea.
Oh boy.
We bring the Galaga machine and the Mojo guys bring the liquid refreshment. and we play. We have a Galaga tournament with the liquid refreshments.
See, if I was, I'm pretty confident with my Galaga high score, but if I was more confident, I could say like, high score wins a Dora or something. But I better not do that because some of you guys might kick my butt at Galaga.
You know what? Let's be honest. There's probably the average 12-year-old, give him 5 minutes in the game and he'll have the pattern figured out. And
That is
embarrass all of us.
Oh gosh. Well, guys, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. I'm going to say goodbye to our guests, and then I'll wrap us up after that. And guys, if you want to hang out for a minute when I close, we can keep talking amongst ourselves. But good evening to the 5 of you. I'll see you at work tomorrow.
All right, we'll be there.
All righty. Well, guys, I really appreciate you being here tonight. We really did have a great time. Thank you for joining me tonight. You saw the email I sent out. I've kind of gotten into a YouTube video groove the last day or two, and I hope to keep that going. No promises, but I've got a lot of other things I want to do. I posted one today showing the new track rollers and how that works. With any luck, I'd love to actually put the track rollers to some mud scenery, show you it in action. I get a lot of questions from people about what kind of glue. This new Arizona kit that came out. This thing is fantastic. And I did a little video to show you what's in the box. Jeff's got one. He's going to do some sort of a review that's more towards the accuracy of the kit and how it goes together. Our good friend that's here in the chat with us, Chris Martins, he's got one. He's going to be doing a full review on it that'll be posted to Model Warships when he's done with that. So this is a really cool kit, and being that it's multimedia, you've got plastic, you've got resin, you've got photo etch, you've got wood deck, you've got all this stuff. So it is picking people's interest, and people are starting to ask me, well, what kind of glue to use? Maybe you haven't used photo etch parts. Maybe you haven't used 3D printed parts yet. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, plastic cement's not going to cut it. And I want to do a video and tell you guys the differences in glues. I mean, over here on my model table, I said it the other day, to me, a thin cement is kind of king around my modeling bench. But when I get outside of plastic parts, he might as well go home because he won't work. But super glues, the Gator grip glue that we use, all these different kinds of things. I want to show you why you need some of this stuff that we're going to start selling soon. So we're going to have stuff like that coming. I mentioned earlier that we're going to start having guests, and we're going to start having topics. Tom's going to join me in the next couple of weeks. We're going to talk about kit bashing. So we're going to do some interesting things like that and try to do something different each week of the month. And next week, of course, is our show and tell. So please send me your model entries for next week's show and tell at info@squadron.com. Pictures of whatever you'd like me to show off. And I look forward to that. It's always a fun time. So, guys, that's going to wrap us up for this evening. Y'all take it easy. Have a great weekend. And I will be back with you next week at 9 o'clock. Y'all have a good one.